Hey, welcome to the HuntLeague Man Cave. Today we're going to do an in-depth pack review on many of today's most popular packs. All right, pack number 3. We have the Initial Ascent. This is a beast of a pack. This pack can carry heavy loads, no problem. It is by far my favorite pack to carry the heaviest of heavy loads. If somebody said to me, hey, I need you to carry this 150 or 200 pound thing from one point to another point, and you had any pack to choose from, this would be my pack of choice for a heavy pack. Now, with that said, let's talk about some of the pros, cons, things I love, things that I don't love, because as much as I love certain things about this pack, I also have things that drive me crazy that I actually like. It's my least favorite pack in some categories. So let's take a look at what I love, what I don't love. They've actually fixed some of the things I don't love in some of their other pack models, but let's dive in to the Initial Ascent. Great pack. Price. It is not the most expensive. You know, it's not as expensive as the Kafaru, but it is a pretty dang expensive pack nonetheless. You're going to pay $700 and plus to get this pack. And this is the 4K pack. They have a 6K now that I would probably buy over this pack just because of the layout. Price point, it's an expensive pack. Fit and finish. It's actually my least favorite looking pack. It's kind of square, boxy. Straps kind of just go across. I wish that I had it like totally full so that you could see it. I do like the Cryptek, so I'm not dogging the colors, any of that stuff. I'm just talking about the overall fit and finish, the way that the pack kind of looks and what it kind of screams to me. I think some of the, some of this stuff doesn't quite look as high quality as maybe some of the other packs in this. Is this a high quality pack? Like, absolutely. This is like infinitely better than a lot of your mid-range or cheap packs. Like, this is a top tier pack. But when it comes to fit and finish, I'd say that there could be some improvements. Straps. Straps are very thick straps. They're thicker than the QU straps, very comparable to the EXO packs in terms of the way that the strap design works, cinching everything. It does not have the locking straps like the Kafaru and the Mystery Ranch, but straps are good. Suspension, shoulder straps. I like this suspension. It is not my favorite though. You cannot. It's kind of similar. I think it's the same reason the Mystery Ranch pack wasn't my favorite. You can't really separate this because they are kind of tied together. I wish these were two independent systems for their suspension, but it is kind of one yoke that kind of goes across. And for some reason, that creates a little bit of discomfort for me. On this pack, it is not as bad as the Mystery Ranch pack when I'm talking about that little bit of discomfort because of the suspension and yoke. Again, good, I would say appropriate amount of thickness. I do like, this little kind of D-ring loop. I like the attachment. I like this little system for attaching your water bottle. There's a lot of things that I do like about the suspension. Super simple to operate, to tighten up. So again, a great pack. Organization and access. Okay, this is where this pack I struggle with. A lot of your big packs now have kind of that horseshoe design where you kind of get to go around 3. I showed you the Modus, kind of opens up this way. The Mystery Ranch, you can kind of swing it and it'll open up this way and you can kind of see everything in your pack. This pack, the 4K specifically, it has 2 full-length side zips. So there is no curve to it. So you have a side zip that gives you access into the pack. Now you do have this on both sides, so if you have something stored kind of up against the side, great. You do have a full top load, and you can open this up wide and throw everything in while this is all zipped. That's gonna work. So it seems like a good design. However, when I have used this and gone on multi-day backpacking trips. Once I start packing stuff down, this starts to fill up and get real tight. And then this, because everything is tight, ends up getting pretty tight. And I have a hard time opening this to get some of my last items in as the bag gets full. So it actually, where I think like, okay, you've got side and top, you can access everything. I just wish, even if they made this a little bit of a bend where it would kind of open up so you could have a flap, it would make accessing things so much easier. That horseshoe design zipper is definitely my preference. You find that on the QU, you find that on the XO, you find that on the AKEC, you find that on a lot of different packs, and I can show you that, and you would just have to use it practically to see. You might look at this and go, what's the downside of that? But I'm telling you, when I've loaded it, I have had this, once it's kind of fully loaded, it starts to become more difficult to access because this zipper, it's pulling against itself and it gets tighter, and then it's harder to get specific pieces out. Is it a massive flaw? No. Can you overlook it? Certainly. Once you're inside the main compartment, there's not really any zippers or storage compartments nor organization on the inside. So I don't love that there's not any inside zips. However, they do give you two big zips that go along the back. So you can access this. They are like kind of that stretchy material. So you can actually store quite a bit of things in the top, but it is limited on the number of pockets and storage. I'm not a guy that loves pockets everywhere. However, I would like to be able to open this up and at least have a side pocket or something where I can stow specific accessories and keep it separate from all the other contents in the bag. Now, let's get to the lid. So here's the lid. The lid has one really big main compartment on top, which is good storage. You can flip it on bottom. You have a zip here, which I actually really like this, and I wish that more lids did this, where I would love to you just keep your tag. This is my tag wallet for when I'm hunting, so I do like that. One of the things that I don't love, and I'm not exactly sure, I don't know if it's just the type of bladder or what. This is like a system that they kind of integrated, and I was like, actually, I really like this when I looked at it. But then the practicality of it, when I used it in the field, I was like, this is the worst of any system I've used. They give you this system right here in the lid to slide a hydration bladder. So you can stick, 100 ounces of water inside this, run your hose out. It's got Velcro. I do like the way that you can set that. Your water sits right up on top. It's nice and accessible. There's some reasons why I thought this would be a benefit. However, the issue that I have is you running a hose out of that bladder, and with that bladder sitting flat on top, it's not gravity fed. So I don't know, I would end up sometimes being 2/3 still full, but because of the way the water was sitting or had settled in my pack, I would be sucking out of the straw, and I would just be sucking the plastic together and be able to get nothing out. And there is nothing more frustrating than when you're dying of thirst on a backcountry hunt, going to get a drink and sucking on that straw and getting nothing out when you know you have water in the system. So for me, my preference, without a doubt, I will always run a hydration bladder that is vertical, where the hose is in the bottom, so it's gravity fed, pushing water out. This system doesn't make sense to me unless you have one of those pump systems that puts pressure and is pushing water out. This just is not a good system in my mind on the bladder. I'll point this out while I'm looking at the lid. This is I think maybe the only failure outside of some original cheaper packs that I've had with a premium pack. The stitching on this lid has come undone multiple times. I'm not going to say that the stitching on Initial Ascent packs is not top quality and durable. Everything on this pack is durable. I think whatever happened in the factory when this was being stitched was not, I don't know if it was bad thread. I don't know if it was a bad machine, something, because I have restitched this with some hand sewn just thread multiple times, and it could just be the way that the pack is designed. But when I load this up, you can see right here, I've got a hole, right into the pack, and I have restitched that. I have restitched multiple seams. You can see seams in here that I've restitched these seams across the lid. So I was having failure points along this seam, along this side seam. And so for some reason, the seams on this lid have failed me multiple times. And I don't really know the reason, because there's not like, I never like overfill the lid and push it to capacity. There's not like weight pushing out and against it. So why this is failing, it just has to have been a bad batch of thread, bad machine that day, something like that. This lid has not been good for me, but it's the only part of the pack that has failed. It's a bummer that I've had as many issues with it as I have. My issue is I've never reached out and asked for any warranty help. I've just kind of sewed it up myself. I don't see it as that big of a deal. If it was a massive fail point, I would definitely call Dennis and call the team at Initial Ascent. They're actually phenomenal with their customer service. They do answer your emails. I've had multiple points of contact with them over the last couple of years. As far as like quality people and people you would want to be in business with, want to support, Initial Ascent is at the top of the game there. So I'm not saying anything. There's no knocks against their warranty department. There's no knocks even on their quality. It's a great quality bag. I just personally know that this is an issue. I would bet, I'd bet $1,000 if I called Dennis and said, hey, Dennis, I'm having an issue. Let me show you the stitching issues. They would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that you're having a problem. Let me put one in the mail. I'll send it your way. They're that type of people. So I just want to be real clear on this. I have run this pack hard. I have hauled out multiple animals with this pack. I freaking love it. It is a workhorse. There are some downsides and there are some flaws with it, so I thought I'd point them out. Now, let's talk about other things with this pack. Straps, suspension, organization, access. I told you about that. Versatility. I don't have other packs. I don't have their 2K. I don't have their 6K, so I have never actually changed the pack on this. But I will tell you, after I have taken this pack out and gotten it all bloody, I take the whole pack off, separate it from the frame, and I will wash it. I use Velvet Antler Technologies. They've got some like blood spray stuff that I spray all over it, and it gets the blood right out. So I have separated the pack from the frame multiple times, and I have reattached it. It is not the easiest of my packs to reattach. The last time I did it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so confused on what buckles and how to get it back to square, that it took me a little bit. So I would say from that standpoint, like ease of use and versatility, it is not the easiest of the packs. Like the Mystery Ranch is easier. The QU pack, I think, is the easiest of that. However, I don't know how often you're really going to take the pack fully apart, separate the bag from the frame, or how often you're going to swap them in and out. This pack does have a load carrier, a crib carrier like that you can keep. I always keep it with me. It stays connected to the pack. It is in there, in between my pack and the frame. I never take that out or have that separate or keep it in the car. I always keep it. It fits super streamlined up against the pack. So I do love that. As far as load management and weight, this is number one, period. I don't know what it is about the frame. It is an ingenious frame in terms of carrying weight. It does have a little bit of bend to it, so it is by far the most breathable pack, and it carries the heaviest load. You cannot bend this frame. The side to side, like I've showed you with some of the other ones, this pack is very rigid compared to the other packs. It's definitely one of the most rigid packs. It does flex more. I can bend this vertically up and down a little bit easier than I can the Kafaru. However, this pack carries weight the best of any pack I have ever used. The heaviest load, the most comfortable. Even when I'm saying I don't love the suspension on it, like I feel like there could be a little bit of an improvement with separating that yoke, giving me maybe a little bit more space. It is still a phenomenal setup. It will carry a load really great. One thing that I have had happen, and I will point out, because again, you know, there's some love-hate. It has like the, you know, I don't know if you can see it, but there's wings on this where it has a couple of these things that kind of indents that connect to the frame. They will highlight on some of their commercials how you can carry a game bag, loop it over, the frame itself. And so you can fully pack this and then put 2 more game bags on the outside and just hang it. And this pack will take all of that weight, no problem. One issue that I have had though, one time under a heavy load, I was trying to swing the pack around to get my arm on, and one of these carbon fiber kind of wings ended up, as I was trying to swing it, actually cutting a part of, like, underneath my bicep. It not a deep cut, not anything, just like I would say a scratch that was a little deep and there was blood, but nothing that was like a deep, super painful thing. However, I have had that happen where I've never experienced that with any other pack, and it just has to do with the fact that they've got these shapes that kind of come out on the frame. So something to think about. Will you ever run into that? Have I been poked by it, or have I felt, the wing kind of hit me? Probably on 2 or 3 occasions out of a couple dozen uses in the field and in testing. So does it happen? Yes. Is it comfortable or fun when it happens? No, it's not the best. So that's something I would point out. As far as balance and rigidity, when you have this pack loaded, I think it's the most like squared up pack where it doesn't stick off your back super far. It stays tight, and it's a wider footprint. So when it sticks to your back, it locks in like a brick. Why that's important? When I've been on some hikes where there's been some like deadfall, or you're side hilling and you're having to kind of turn and twist your body some, this pack stays and it feels like it is a part of your body. If I had to compare that with another one, when I'm talking about the balance and shifting, compare that to my QU pack. The QU pack, once you cinch it down, it will still, like if I lean, you feel the pack sway, and it almost has the ability to kind of pull you in that direction. Well, where that becomes potentially dangerous, sometimes you like having that level of flexibility and movement, but where I've struggled with that is in areas where there's high deadfall and I'm having to climb over a lot of logs, and sometimes having to climb up on multiple logs. That sway in the pack has actually been something that makes me feel not as at ease. When I carry this pack, I will carry heavier loads through deadfall than with the QU pack. With the QU pack, I end up limiting, like if I have to go up and over deadfall and I'm climbing 3-4 feet off the ground multiple times, which has happened on several backcountry hunts, I will limit the weight to about 60, 70 pounds, because if I load up to 100 pounds, 120 pounds, and I'm going up over deadfall and that shift happens, it will cause me to lose my balance or potentially throw me into a potential spot where I'm getting injured. I'm deep in the backcountry. It might be hard to get help. It's difficult. It's a difficult area to access. I do feel safer with this pack on, carrying a heavy load through uneven terrain, than I do with some of the other packs. I pointed out QU, but I would say some of the other packs too that have that similar sway. What I'm pointing out here is this pack fits like a brick against your back. It is rock solid once you have it loaded. There is not another pack that comes close. The Kifaru is the second best, and it does really well, but I would just argue that there is not another pack that carries weight the way that Initial Ascent does, period. Period. It's that good. So when it comes to that, I love it. Load lifters, I do wish Initial Ascent made this. Again, similar to Mystery Ranch, but not quite as bad. I do wish they made a slightly taller frame. Does it work? Yes. Do I wish it just had, I mean, for this, it's like if it could be 3/4 of an inch higher, it would make just a little bit more of a difference on my shoulders, and I think help with some of the yoke suspension stuff that I don't necessarily love. I think it would help a little bit, but I'm kind of at the taller end of this frame. Again, 6'2", 6'3". They do have a smaller frame that they make for women, for youth, and then they make this frame, which is kind of fits, supposed to be kind of one size for everybody else, male, adult. And I would just articulate or argue that I wish they had one size that was maybe for a tall. How they have youth and women, I wish they might have like a tall, because I would probably attempt to use that frame. However, you're not going to have any issues if you're still 6'2", 6'3", with the frame and the frame height. Load lifters are 3. Breathability, this was the #1 pack on breathability for me. Part of it is the curved frame. Another part of it is they have a really thick lumbar pad, which you can see right here. I mean, it's an aggressive lumbar pad. I don't know the actual width of this, but it is thick and it is pretty firm. And at first, not having had this thick of a lumbar pad, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I like this. After you start putting a load on it, you love the lumbar pad. I'm like, dude, I love how aggressive they are with their lumbar pad. And I actually wish that other backpack companies would give you the option to be as aggressive or as thick as this. It opens up a massive air channel. The first time I hiked with this, I remember being like, oh my gosh, I can feel air. I mean, you've got at least a 6-inch gap right here that you have air flowing all the way through, and you can literally feel that airflow while you're hiking on your back, where I really don't feel that on very many packs other than maybe the XO and the ACAC. You feel a little bit of that airflow. They breathe really well as well. But in terms of breathability, this is the #1, and I would say it's the most noticeable one where you feel air moving on your back. So I do love that about the Initial Ascent. Waist belt. This is my least favorite waist belt. I might have to give you a little example of it. I think you'll be able to see this. Swing, put it on. So when it's a little bit tight because how I took it off last, but let me loosen it. And now, get this arm through. Now you'll be able to see what I don't love. Usually with these waist belts, you can just pull forward, and that gave me that right there snugged up real nice and tight. But then as I'm trying to snug it tight, like you can see, like I'm pulling and it goes back to where it was. For some reason, it doesn't pull all the way through. So it gave me a really nice tug initially, and it's nice and firm. Is it a big negative? No, but I have had issues where I've had to kind of squeeze it. This one doesn't tighten up quite as well as the other ones. Why? I don't know. Is it this specific pack? I don't know. Is it a busted or broken system? I would say not at all. Once you get it tight, which you're only messing with the first time you kind of put it on, or I guess just when you put it on, after you tighten it up, it stays tight. It's a thick and substantial belt. The padding on the sides are thick and substantial. It distributes weight really well. I have had a little bit of issues with it rubbing after really long hikes. If I'm doing something 4 to 5 miles, like I said before with like the QU pack, I had some major issues with that. But with this, I don't have those issues, but it will rub my hips a little bit raw towards the end of the day. And I don't know if that's the material used or what. Lower back comfort, shoulder comfort. I do get a little bit of pain there, but I would still say overall in the way that it carries on a heavy load, I still had to put this as #1 because of the way that it carries. But neck, shoulders, lower back, I do feel a little bit of lower back pain sometimes with this, not much. I put this as the 3rd best feeling on my lower back. Again, I said I really like this lumbar pad, but if I do finish a really long, heavy hike, I do feel a little bit more pressure in my back, in my lower back, than I do with some of the other ones. So that might be related to how aggressive this lumbar pad is. I do feel it though. Crib attachment, again, I always keep the crib inside. It's always attached. Any points of concern for me with this pack? The durability on the stitching is the only point there. The layout, I do like how deep and big this pocket is for a water bottle. And I like how on this side, they give you like a full length. So you can shove a spotting scope, or it's got an open top so you can run hiking poles, tripod. It fits everything really nice. This is a phenomenal pack. Again, pros and cons. There's some things that I love, some things I don't love about this, but I think if you get an Initial Ascent pack, you're gonna absolutely love what you end up with. On to the next. Last word for you guys before you leave is we have some packs that are going into some of our leagues that if you are a part of the HuntLeague community, you can win one of these phenomenal packs. This summer, we're going to be giving away an EXO pack fully loaded. It's an EXO 4800 in the On Point Experience League. If you haven't downloaded the HuntLeague app, what the HuntLeague app is, think of it like a digital hunting journal that logs everything that you experience on your scouting trips, on your hunts. Jump in some of our leagues, compete with some of your buddies, invite some of your buddies to compete on a team with you. But we are going to be giving away a brand new EXO mountain gear pack in our On Point Experience League, which ends May 31st, 2023. So if you're watching this video and it's after that, I'm sorry, it's a little bit too late for the EXO pack. If you're looking for another great opportunity, we have the AKEC pack. We have made the AKEC pack the official pack of the Western Hunter League inside the HuntLeague app. So if you're watching this, this is a special announcement. You can get the AKEC pack, which is the backpack of choice for the Western Hunt League. We are including that in the prize package. So if you win the Western Hunter, which is basically any hunts that you're logging between Montana and New Mexico and to the west for primarily big game animals. So we're talking elk, we're talking deer, mountain goats, sheep, moose, those type of animals. Those are a part of the Western Hunt League. If you're a big time Western hunter, I want to invite you to come in, join the league, share your story, compete with buddies and friends. It's an incredible platform. Those are our leagues. You've got the Western Hunt League, win an AKEC pack. You've got the On Point Experience where you can win an EXO pack. We'll probably have some of the other packs that were featured today in some of our other leagues sometime in the near future, but keep an eye on that. Download the HuntLeague app. Thank you for sticking with us during this pack review video.